All right, Miss Ibanez is back on the bench, and before I can tell you the backstory of why I ended up with this one and all of the reasons and the therefores, I took it out and I was playing on it and I thought, something's wrong. And because my playing has progressed a little bit beyond where it was when I first got this guitar, and the experience I had when I worked on this guitar initially, the mechanics of the two-point floating bridge I did not understand well, and in fact they really scared me a bit because I really didn't understand the balance of it and the springs and the like, and I didn't do a full fret leveling the way I do now with the sanding bar. I did spots, and now I'm having problems with unleveled frets again because I didn't really do a good job on it, apparently, or it's changed. But the other thing is that, you know, people tell me all the time, why do you spend all your money on these cheap, you know, Chinese guitars, and why don't you buy a brand name? Well, that's what was going on at the time, so I decided I'm going to buy a brand name. It's not a high-end brand name, but it's a brand name, and it says right on the back, made in China. So, you know, and it's got a nice scarf joint there, see? So there's a lot of guitars, brand names that are made in China, unless you buy the one or two models that are made in North America at very high labor rates, and they cost uber's amounts of money. Well, if you saved up or put it on a payment plan, you might, you know, be able to pay it off in a few years. But you can either do that and have one guitar and not have any experience of working on them like I did, or you could buy 50 different kinds of guitars and have the experience of working on them and learning to play them at the same time. I'm bleeding. I picked myself taking the strings off as usual. So this neck has to come off, and it has to go through a full leveling the way I do it now. It has to be completely taped up, and it needs to be also re-oiled because I see that it's dried out a little bit. This has been in the case for a very long time as well, and I took it out and I was playing on it and I thought, geez, this thing sounds good. These original Ibanez pickups, I left them in there. They're a little growly, and they're not really that high spec output. A little bit more than, they're not a 7.5. I don't know what they are right now. I'll tell you later. But yeah, they're pretty good. And I didn't really have them all the way up to the strings either, so we'll see. So let me take this off, do this, and then I'll put it back together, get it all set up, and then we'll get to the real backstory of how this really happened. Stand by. Alrighty, it's all back together and ready to head to the story. Okay, now that it's fixed again, we can start the story. So, as I put on the thumbnail, I never wanted this guitar. This is not the one I ordered. The one I really ordered was this one. This one I thought I could be okay with. It had, a regular kind of looking headstock to it, but those pointy Ibanez leaned back headstocks never really attracted to them. Never really attracted to Ibanez. But as life would have it, things go on. I came to a point where I thought, I am collecting a bunch of different guitars here. I might as well try one. So I thought the copper metallic one would be a nice color and possibly a reasonable one that I could say I had an Ibanez. Well, I ended up making the order to a seller in Montreal, and after a few days I got an email saying, or was it a phone call, we can't get this anymore. We ordered it from Ibanez and they said they're not making it anymore. And lo and behold, they said, would you like any other guitar that we have? I said, what do you have in stock that I could get soon? And they said, well, there's this and that and this and that and this and that. And I didn't have a white guitar at the time. And so I saw the picture of this one and I thought, it has that headstock, but it's white and black. That was a good selling point for me. I had no idea what this would be like. And so I said, all right, switch the order to this one. They were comparatively the same money, and I think this one was just a little bit more on their pricing. Well, time goes by and I see that the copper metallic is still available in the US, and it was available for quite a long time. I was a little irked about that. And I was thinking, I was lied to. But by then, the things had happened and it was what it was, and I had to make the best of what I could do with it. Now, I found out that the Ibanez pickup switching on this thing was weird. And I guess they're all like that, where you get I think it's a 5-way selector switch it comes with, I can't remember. And it switches, one humbucker, a humbucker and a piece of a humbucker and something versus back and forth and blah blah blah. And I was like, God, I could never remember what pieces of what humbucker I'm going to get in those 5 selection switches, because they're nothing like my Fenders or any other guitars with 5 position selector switches in them. So I go, yeah, I don't want that. So I decided that I was going to do something with this, and I ended up with a 4-way selector switch, because these pickups are not 4-wire pickups, they're 3-wire pickups. Yeah. So the normal splitting scheme could not be done, where you just kind of ground, the 2 center taps, and it takes one of them out, whichever one they've turned, for start to finish in the middles. I found out that, yeah, you just couldn't do it. So my wiring that I had done was put that to ground, basically just didn't work. It killed the whole pickup. So I ended up having to devise a scheme where the wiring had to be done like this, where I had to take individual coils, either the whole coil and center tap it and use only 1/2 the coil when I wanted to pull up on it. And that took me a while to think about how to do that, but it works. Um, so I did this, and I used it in a couple of songs. Now when I first got it, I wasn't too crazy about the sound of the pickups. The pickups are a little bit loud, they're growly. The neck is a 9.28 and this one is an 11.83. Now that doesn't sound a lot more than, say, an 875 and another 8 over here, or 750 K. Even like 15 Ks come in bridges here, 15s and 16s with 7.5s as sets. And of course the 15s are loud. But there's something about these pickups that I didn't change them, and I thought, okay, I'm probably not going to use this guitar too much because I really didn't like it, except for the color. And I thought, well, I'm just going to leave them in there. I'm not going to waste a set of pickups on this guitar. Well, I did what I did. I added an extra volume, I added an extra volume here in the middle. It came with these two pots here with a tone and a single volume. So I thought, no, I want independent volumes, and that's another thing I had to do with that wiring scheme, is make sure the independent volumes would work. So I did it like a Telecaster 4-way bridge, parallel, and this is series between the two, and neck alone. And of course that works whether you pulled these switches out or not, doesn't matter. And therefore you can get blending with one split and one not split, both split that way, split this way, whatever you want, and level of input on each one. So it's got a pretty good versatility to it in that way. Now I found that the acoustics on this guitar not that great, and the weight of the guitar is 6.6 pounds. When I picked it up 2 days ago to start preparing for this, I'm going, wow, this is really light compared to some of the other ones I've been working on. Whoops. And so I weighed it. I hadn't done it before because I didn't have a scale when I had this guitar. So this was circa, I think I finished this in August 2022. I might have ordered it in July, and it came in August. And then, of course, I did the rework. The nut is a graphite style nut. It's black, and I only had to deepen the back angle on the B and the high E because they were kind of shallow, and side to side they could pop out fairly easily. We're seeing that on the Musi Telecasters and Fusions as well at the moment, because you see there's no string trees here either, but you got the cant back angle, which helps. The tuners are also original. They're amazingly good for a budget guitar that was what, I don't know, it was about $300 I think. And they don't have slop. They're really pretty good tuners. They're unbranded. They're just black. And I went after the fretboard back then because I didn't do it with the leveling beam like I do now. And I spot, leveled, and I screwed it. Was good enough to do certain things, but it wasn't set the way I have the experience to do them now, and how, of course, I desire my guitars to be set now. So with more time under my belt with different guitars, and this 2 points floating bridge, I didn't know how to set that up when I got this. I didn't know I had a 2-point floating bridge. On the pictures it looked like a Strat bridge. The block in the back is basically not a block, it's just one of those thin little ones. You can see it in there. Just like pretty much a lot of the Chinese guitars and Squires and, you know, stuff like that. Donners. Although I've had either Monoprice or Donner have some pretty good size blocks on some of their guitars. Indian Laurel fretboard. I really like Indian Laurel. It's dark. It looks like mahogany. So today, after I finished the proper leveling of the frets, I re-oiled it again, and it's looking pretty sweet. Pretty sweet indeed. Alright. There's really not a whole lot more to go into about this guitar. It does have the cutaway. It's not chamfered down, but you do have, you know, the no plate with the inserts. It doesn't have the cutaway down here. It's still full size. The body itself is not that thick, which I guess is part of the low weight. The maple neck is really nice. It's smooth satin, and today, after doing this work on the fretboard and putting a new set of strings on it again, man, it feels like glass. It's just whew. And I reset the bridge that had been sort of pulled down with the spring, so that I have a little bit of up on it, and I can whammy that in both the reverse a little bit and forward direction, because it's set kind of like a Floyd Rose. And I was able to adjust that since I had experience now with the Wilkinson 2-point floating bridges on a couple of guitars. I want to just give you a little bit of a feel for it. I'm going to turn that up. We're going to check it. Oh, and of course the settings are standard. There's no additional drive or anything on this. It's just that little reverb and delay at 2. No pedals. There's no boost of any kind helping this. And this guitar is loud. Alright, so full humbucker, split, and because of the wiring scheme that I had to use by segregating the coils, the Fralin resistor option is not possible with the way the circuit is done. I don't think it's possible at all, but if I thought about it a little bit more, I might be able to figure out another way to do it, put a Fralin in, but it's not worth doing, because half this coil, and on that one is outside, that's on. Split the neck. So this is set. The pickups are set at 1/8 and 1/16 over here. If you wanted a little bit less output, you could drop them a little bit more and set them the way you like. But I didn't appreciate these pickups when I first got them. I thought they sounded awful compared to all the single coils I had been working with up to then on Strat style guitars, and they sounded kind of bleh to me, muddy. And now I've had more experience with a lot of different humbuckers over the last year, and my ear has developed an appreciation for what these pickups can do in this guitar. If you're looking for an Ibanez guitar, not too much money, and you can find one of these, I'd say that you know, you could go for that, even if you had to stay with the Ibanez funny switching, you know. Anyhow, this is what it does, and full. Now in parallel, it goes up, and that's mainly due to the power of this humbucker, because normally in parallel you would drop, right? But it goes up. Now in series it really goes up. Because now what you're doing is you're adding 9 and 11 together, right? So you're getting 20, well, 21. Okay, it's a lot. But you can change that by, you know, varying the volume. And the radius of this fretboard is rather flat. And now that I've done the setup again today with the truss rod, I had to put a shim in the neck, 0.19 millimeter, just to give it a little bit, you know, backwards, not much, to be able to align it the way I needed it. And it's so easy to form bar chords. You hardly need to push at all. So it's a pretty neat guitar now. I'm going to stop with the story for now, and I'll see if I can tag on a little bit of maybe some D major minor pentatonic. Okay, let's see how many sour notes we can play. And I have a sweet spot, which is the 2 split in the 3rd position. that's all she wrote. A few sours in there, but you know, a work in progress. And this will be the story of the GRGA 120 in white. Thanks for listening to the stories. Appreciate all your support. Catch you in the next one.